Have you ever wanted to see an origin movie about the Joker, Batman's greatest foe? You're gonna do it anyway, because Joker, or so far it's called Joker, it could very well be called Joker, a Justice League story, Joker, a Batman story, the unnecessary Joker movie, whatever you wanna call it. Todd Phillips is creating this movie, and he says, according to The Wrap, that the villain will be portrayed as a failed 1980s comedian who becomes the clown prince of crime after bombing, which sounds like a very, very familiar storyline. This also explains why he's bringing on Martin Scorsese as a producer of the film, with his previous experience with King of Comedy. That was a black comedy that starred Robert De Niro, of course, and focuses on a deluded comedian who can't catch a break, which sounds a lot like what is happening here. So what's fun about the Joker is nobody really knows what his origin is, or what his real name is, or how he got like this. It's kind of hinted that this is just one of the stories the Joker has given out as to who he was or where he came from. The scary part is he doesn't really have a definitive storyline, but he does have notable ones, specifically the Killing Joke. And this was one that was used in preparation for different Batman movies. It said that Heath Ledger was given a copy of this to prepare for his turn as the Joker. However, he did not read it. If Jared Leto read it, I don't know if he really paid attention to it, because his interpretation is wildly different than this. And this does seem like it would be a different canon than the current DCEU. So in The Killing Joke, it's a pretty controversial story, because this one involves having Barbara Gordon being shot and paralyzed as a method of scaring / controlling Commissioner Gordon. There have been different turns as to portraying this in film and television and animation. Bruce Timm did it not well recently, but the definitive version is the comic. And it's great because of how gray it seems. I mean, the last panel, it looks like, is Batman putting his arm on the Joker and laughing, or is he strangling him to death? This is where we have that fantastic monologue of One Bad Day, which you should listen to the Mark Hamill audio recording of. It is a very scary and off-putting and brilliantly done. But in the story, if it is the one that we're going with, a man, we'll just call him the Joker, but he's never identified in the whole thing. He's just a man, has left his job at Ace Chemicals in order to become a comedian and follow his dreams, and is so often the case that is not portrayed in La La Land, he fails, and he sinks his family, which is just his wife Jeannie, and who is pregnant, into enormous debt. They're living in a terrible apartment. She says she's very sweet to him. She says they'll work it out somehow. He's desperate to care for his growing family, so he decides to team up with some criminals in order to rob his former place of employment. Jeannie talks him out of it at the last second. Later, Jeannie is killed somehow in a household accident, and the criminals force him to go through with the crime. They are killed. Batman shows up, and the man jumps into a vat of chemicals, which has colored his skin white, his hair green, and his lips ruby red. And this, compounded with the other horrible things that happened all day, make him turn into the Joker. Or maybe that's not what happened at all and he just made it all up. I'm not sure if this film will draw directly from that storyline, and I think we should put a spoiler alert on it, even though it is decades old. But I think it will at least draw something from it, as is the way that comic book movies typically do draw from its official canon, which is to take elements and to put different interpretations in. Otherwise, those interpretations sometimes work, sometimes upset the fans, sometimes upset people who aren't even fans, Martha. And we'll see, though. Todd Phillips is known mainly for comedic movies, very male friendship focused, if I'm looking at his catalog correctly. He may have a completely different interpretation altogether. What do you think is the definitive version of the Joker? And was it the right choice to do it this way, or is it very, very risky? Please let me know, and like and subscribe for more.